with TDD.
Yo, what's up, y'all? Welcome to the show. Thank you for joining me today, and let's get that Joe. And today we are talking about early access. So mad props to my patron Tango for the suggestion. Yes. Yo, good morning, everybody. I hope you have a nice hot cup of Joe as well. Today I am drinking Death Wish. It's sweet and smooth. And I don't know about death, yo. It tastes a little bit more like life to me. So, like I said, today we're talking about early access. I can't wait to share this with you guys, and I have a huge surprise. Oh, first of all, actually, there it is. Check it out in all its glory. Yes, it is the stalker poster that GSC sent me with the Clear Sky bundle. That's right, I did a little bit of translation, and it was a Clear Sky bundle. Look at that. Oh, so badass. So I'm gonna be hanging this up later tonight. And here is the other surprise that I'm so excited to share with you guys while we talk about my thoughts on early access. See if I can get a shot in there. Bam! We are gonna be building an official Fallout Pip-Boy. Let me see if I can just show you guys real quick. Bust this open. First of all, it just comes in some sick ass packaging, right? Oh man, look at that. You got your manual and all the parts in there, and it's deep, yo, so I don't know how difficult this is gonna be. I brought in some electrical tools that I think I might need, but it looks like it came with some tools as well. So anyway, you guys, let's jump right in and start building this bitch and talking about some games. All right, so a little backstory on the Pip-Boy here. I got it from a website called Think Geek, which I actually just went and checked out, and it looks like it's still around, even though I bought this during their closeout sale where they were gonna be shutting it down. Maybe I misunderstood what was going on at the time, or they're bringing it back for some reason, but I ended up picking this up for only $100. Personally, I think it was a steal. We'll find out after I build it. So that's the backstory. Let's jump right in. Look at this manual, y'all. I mean, it's even a cool manual. It's huge. There's like 126 steps. We'll figure it out. Boom! So that's everything, y'all. I'm gonna give you a shot right now, but check out all these parts. We've got some padding for your wrists, a bunch of hardware, the front screen and the outer housing, a bunch of really cool, like, interesting molded plastic parts here. I'm not exactly sure what those are for yet. This little fake speaker. I don't know if there's going to be a way that you can actually like see the housing for the speaker inside there, but that's some cool detail if they put that in. Got a little holo tape, a little silk screen for the front print, some more hardware, and then some strap hardware, and then some outer hardware pieces. Pretty cool. So wow, a lot of pieces here to put together. I'm not exactly sure how difficult this is going to be, but we're going to give it a go. And before we jump into the first of the 126 steps to get this bitch done, I want to give you a little bit of history about early access. It started in 2013 when Valve decided that instead of following the normal development path for CSGO and Dota 2, they were going to be experimenting a little bit using their Steam platform by putting the games out early for customers to play so that they could get direct feedback from them and tweak the game as they developed it. And they saw such a benefit working with their fan base directly on the alpha, possibly pre-alpha development cycles, and later they wanted to extend that to other developers. So the birth of early access came to pass in 2013 when Valve implemented the program onto their Steam platform, allowing developers to submit their projects to the program. All right, you guys, I think this is a good stopping point for the moment to talk a little bit more about what early access actually is. But before we do that, I just want to show off the front piece that I finished. It's looking pretty good so far, and I like how they actually used real hardware for this. And there's nothing electrical in it, which I might actually modify later to like put some lights in it or maybe put a real screen in there. Early access is something specific. You're actually taking place in earlier development cycles in support of the development of the game. Developers are asking for your money. They're asking for you to become an early adopter and take on the risk of their game maybe not turning out the way that they wanted to or you wanted to, or maybe not even finish at all. First, let's talk terminology. Alpha, beta development cycles. I'm sure that everybody watching this has purchased an early access game in both development cycles. So what do they mean? And let's start with with a game that's in alpha, you're going to be investing in playing a game that has serious problems. You're going to see crashing, memory leaks, huge performance issues and data loss, and just other errors and a ton of bugs. And the main reason for this is that the developer hasn't discovered them yet. You will be on the front lines finding them. There could even be huge feature sets that haven't been implemented into the game yet. So gameplay features, story elements, or even a big portion of the game may not even exist yet. Now, there's going to be a little bit of bleed in between alpha and beta because this is where you're testing the game out and discovering what the problems are. Some problems will get discovered in alpha and might take a long time to fix, or there might be issues that will get created by solving issues found in alpha, or you just won't find them until you get into the beta development cycle. All right, beta development cycle. And this is the stage in which most developers will actually start to market the game and put demos out or take it to trade shows and show off what the game is and where it's at. The overall goal of the beta development cycle is to take all of the known issues and try and reduce it to an acceptable number of bugs in preparation for full release so that you have the least amount of negative impact on your customers. Yeah, I know it might sound kind of whack. What is an acceptable amount of bugs? But what that specifically means is that there are no showstoppers. What that means is if you go out and buy a product, whether it be a video game or another piece of software or some hardware with firmware and software into it, that it will function to its primary use case without any major issues. But I digress. The one thing that you can count on for sure with the beta development cycle is that all the features that the developer has planned on putting into the game are there. If features are not present, then you are not in a beta development cycle. So the only way you can close alpha is to be feature complete, and then final testing begins on the product until you reach the point in which there are zero showstoppers and the developer has determined what the acceptable amount of bugs is for them to go to a full release. Back in the day, games would release in all sorts of crazy states, and sometimes they wouldn't even be functional. I mean, go back to 2007 or earlier, And you'd have to wait a month or longer even to get a patch from the developer so that the game was just functional. Then we hardly had ways to connect with them like we do now. You know, it was just like clunky forums on the internet, kind of. Now we've got Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit. I mean, there's so many different ways that we can connect with them. I honestly feel really grateful and super spoiled with where things are at right now. And the fact that we've defined early access as an actual thing that customers can invest in and take the risk on themselves, but support a developer and a game and participate in its development, it's a pretty cool thing. We'll cover the good and the bad in just a minute. Let's get back to it. Oh yeah. Pull out the holotape right there. That's it. And I'll do a close-up and show you guys all the dials that actually spin, and some actual engineering went into this thing to make it look accurate and also just have some of the moving pieces and some of the buttons sound like, well, somewhat like they might actually sound. But there it is. All right, so while I'm showing this thing off to you guys with some close-up beauty shots, let's go over some of the good and some of the bad with early access. And let's start with the good, which without a doubt, early access is a major boost for indie developers. Clearly, any company with limited resources, whether it be financial or actual human resources, or don't have access to publishers that'll invest money and pay for marketing and so on, getting exposure for their game, growing their fan base, getting support with them with feedback on the direction, and play testing and reporting bugs, crashes, and so on. I can't even imagine how beneficial this has to be for them. Another thing that I think is really good in this regard, especially for smaller developers, is that they can be more risky. They don't have big publishers that want to protect their money and don't want to put something out there that might get rejected or end up just being a flop. So they have the luxury to innovate and experiment and possibly put something out there like we've never seen. So I think for an overall platform that allows for that kind of innovation to grow from even the smallest corners of game development is pretty incredible. From the customer and fan perspective, it's also a killer way to engage with the developer. When Vermintide 2 and Hunt were in early access, I was always on the Reddit giving feedback, participating in community conversation, and just testing stuff out and reporting crashes. It was really cool. All right, let's talk about the bad shit. I've definitely had my fair share of poor experiences with early access games. And I did a little bit of research into my first point here because I was really curious how many games that are submitted and get approved to be in early access actually get a full release. Now, I couldn't find any recent statistics, but when the program launched in 2013, around a year later, there were a couple studies done back in 2014. Not only when the program was fairly new, but it's a long time ago, so I can only imagine that this has improved over time. In the study I looked at, only 25% of games submitted into early access actually made it to full release. So although we're missing a bit of hard data to understand how many games actually get to a full launch, I think all of us can agree and relate to the fact that this is still a problem with the program. Now, I am gonna put a link in the description below. You guys should go check this out. It is a Steam workshop page that details how developers can get their games submitted to be in the early access program. There's even a cool video embedded on the page where Valve met with a bunch of developers that had games in early access to talk about their experience and share with everybody why they did it and what the hiccups were and what their overall experience was. So there's a couple other issues that I want to note here too. And the first one is there is going to be bad seeds out there, yo. And you know what I mean. Developers that are trying to game the system or are milking the consumers or just being lazy and not delivering or meeting their commitments that they've promised to the early investors that have adopted into their program. And I think this is also just going to have to be us making smart choices as gamers before we throw our money at an early access game. What I do and absolutely recommend nowadays is do your homework. Do you want to be an early adopter and play a game that isn't finished? Who's the developer and what's their reputation like? What games have they done in the past? And what's their roadmap and commitments to the community and the game they're working on right now? Third is the community. Is it a community you want to be a part of? And last, what games are coming out that you want to buy, and should you be investing in an early access game right now when there's something else coming up that you could be spending money on and will play better, be complete, and you'll be spending more time in? Does the program have issues? Yes. Can it be frustrating to buy a game and have your hopes crushed because, you know, you were riding the hype train too much or just got too excited about it, or maybe the developers don't deliver? Hell yes. But yo, we have to know the risks before we buy into something early access. But with a little bit of homework and making smart purchases, yo, early access is an absolutely incredible thing that allows innovation and small developers to take risks. It allows communities to get more involved with the developers and help steer the direction of a game. And it just helps find bugs and issues before launch, which is a really good thing. The Joe has almost been killed, the Pip-Boy is complete, and yo, my final thoughts and opinion on early access is that it is a killer thing for PC gaming. After considering everything I talked about today, I hope you feel the same too. It allows for innovation and risk-taking. It supports indie developers that come up with cool and fresh new ideas that aren't just running on the same platforms that they've been using on games previously. And I love personally that I get to engage with the developers in the direction of their game and help them test stuff. It's just badass, and usually they give you some sort of reward for buying into early access anyway, which is cool. Can there be some fatigue? Yes. Can there be shitty developers? Absolutely. Can there still be major development issues that pull the player base in who end up having to struggle through the developer trying to fix those problems? Absolutely. And honestly, I think those are the most frustrating, is we want to see what we've invested in be successful and we want to have fun doing it. And that's really where it sucks the most in my experience. But yo, I've seen so many badass titles get to full release utilizing the program and been really successful doing so. And I can't wait to see the future of early access and participate in other games that I want to play. Let me know in the comments below, what has your experience been like with early access? Have you had any train wreck experiences or any incredible ones, and what were the games? I would love to hear from you on it, so hit me up below and yo, let's kill this Joe. I topped it off, so there's kind of a bit here. We're gonna... Ooh, let's go. Hey, thank you guys so much for joining me today. I had so much fun talking about early access and building the Pip-Boy with you. Yo, and before we bounce, if you guys enjoy my content, I could really use your support on Patreon, even if it's for only $1 a month. Every little bit helps me out immensely, and I would love to have you part of my community. I do some cool shit with my patrons. So check out my page. There'll be a link that pops up here in just a second. Subscribe, like, and leave a comment as well. Thank you guys for joining me, and I will see you on the next Gurhm's Garage. GG.